Tibor Naj, longtime State Department, now with academia. Quick follow-up to Howard's point on universities. U.S. universities are very eager to engage in Africa. African states are very eager to engage with us. But there is no mechanism within the U.S. government to promote this. I mean, we're tremendous on primary, we're pretty good on secondary, but not at all tertiary. A good example is Ethiopia. When I was ambassador there 15 years ago, they had 3 national universities. Now they have 32. The infrastructure is there, the human capital is not. Tremendous opportunity for the United States, both in influence and expertise. Our land-grant universities are phenomenal for the African model, but the U.S. government is just not doing anything to help us do these exchanges. I'm taking 15 U.S. universities to Ethiopia in August, but almost no help from the government.
Thank you. So I'm going to steal from my my summary statement at the end to try to answer your question. In the last year of the Clinton administration, I was called in by a senior Clinton person and asked for advice for some memo that they were going to leave for a putative Gore administration about Africa. That didn't happen, obviously. And the question was, so, you know, what would be the one big idea that we could work on to try to transform U.S.-African relationships for the betterment of Africa? And it was precisely along the lines of what you said, that to have the U.S. government find a way to be a conduit or catalyst between the American university system and the African higher education environment. That simply isn't happening, and it's a tremendous loss at both ends, by the way. So I teach at Columbia University. In my particular school, the School of Journalism, the number of the student body is something like 40–45% non-American. We get a small number of Africans every year, but across the campus, the number of Africans is, I mean, there are Africans, but it's nowhere near the number it needs to be. And so part of this is finding a way to get Africans onto American campuses in far greater numbers, and part of it is trying to find a way to get American universities engaged in African higher education in the African environment. And I think your idea of agricultural extension schools and technical schools, but also advanced science and, you know, every field of higher learning that you can think of you know, Africa is in tremendous need as its demography changes in the way we've described of generating greater intellectual output of every kind. And the African, to respond to what Steve said, you know, this old model of the Central African University in the capital that's supposedly going to service the nation, the developing or emerging nation, being so bankrupt. Across the continent, you have seen great change in this regard in the last 10, 15, 20 years. Actually, the last 10 years in particular, where the privatization of the university sector has really, really proceeded very quickly. The problem is that the quality is really very mixed. The national universities have very often tended just to sink to the bottom, and you have this landscape full of private universities of highly variable quality. One doesn't even know what the accreditation process is like. This is just an immense opportunity for the United States, which has this huge resource and competitive resource in higher education, where we can have tremendous bang for the buck, and we just haven't managed to pull that together yet. So that's my memo to the next administration.